everybody. This is Jacob from Windjammer This. As you can see, my house is all tore up behind me. It's all tore up everywhere because we're remodeling the whole thing. So pay no attention to that stuff. If I can get this thing working right here. Sorry. Not a big tech guy, you guys know that. So I just wanted to talk about the playoffs, mostly. But in the NFL, this has been such a really just absolutely crazy year. Mostly because of the parity, the overall parity in the NFL. I don't think there's ever been a year like this where it's been so much parity. Now, we did have an extra game, and I think that actually lent to the parity a little bit. But overall, just how mediocre they were. Like overall, the teams, the spread of the overall talent is really spread out in the NFL anymore, right? It's just really spread out to the point that teams are, bad teams are beating good teams on a regular basis. And I know people will say that happened a lot before. Nah, not really. I mean, the best teams didn't lose to the worst teams on a consistent basis. And that actually happened a few times this year. Buffalo lost to Jacksonville, only scored 6 points on them. I mean, there's a few other cases where bad teams beat good teams. That's really unusual in the fashion that it was happening, right? I mean, the number one seed in the AFC got beat by the Jets. Tennessee got beat by the Jets earlier this year. Jacksonville beat Buffalo. I mean, it just bad teams lose to good teams most of the time, and that's not really the case this year, right? Yeah, it's been very close, and that's a good thing. That means that from a fan standpoint, that teams aren't out of it anymore. The mediocre teams are going to have a shot. Your teams like your Clevelands, your Cincinnati's that aren't the top tier teams, but they're still going to have a shot because they're going to be able to play with those guys. I mean, and basically, I want if you look at the playoffs, right, as they sit right now. Okay, so the playoffs as they sit, they're after last week, it really kind of leveled out what was going on. Okay, if you look at the playoffs, the top 4 seeds in each division. Okay, you got the Titans, Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, Packers, Rams, Bucks, Cowboys. Right, there is something consistent about all that, right? The Titans, they don't have the best quarterback in the league, but he's pretty serviceable, right? Ryan Tannehill, he can play pretty well, right? Chiefs have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Joe Burrow is turning into a pretty great quarterback. And the Bills, they have Josh Allen. On the other side, you got Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, and Dak Prescott, right? So a lot of times you can track the best teams to the best quarterbacks. I mean, it's pretty consistent. All right, so then you start head down to the wild cards. You got the Patriots. Mac Jones is playing pretty well for a rookie. Arizona Cardinals, obviously, Kyler Murray's a pretty good football player. On the AFC side, you have the Colts with Carson Wentz. He's pretty good quarterback. And then you got the Chargers with Herbert's really good quarterback. Right now, after that, the teams in the hunt. You got Lamar down there. You got Derek Carr, Big Ben. The Saints, who knows who their quarterback is. And the 49ers, I would say their quarterback's Jimmy G, but we'll see. And then Eagles. The Eagles are kind of the outlier, right? Is Hurts good? Is Hurts bad? Overall, this year, it's been good. He's been pretty good this year. But the Eagles are actually a tricky team. The Eagles actually have the best rushing offense in the NFL. A lot of people don't know that. They run for like 160 yards a game. They're actually really good at running the football. So they can beat anybody. The Eagles could surprise some people in the playoffs. They could sneak up and they could beat somebody. And I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. They're going to get their shot at one of these top tier teams because they're going to be like the last team in the playoffs. and they could go in and beat somebody. I mean, they really could. Uh, do I think it happens? No, I actually think the top four will stay. I think they'll make it. I think they're better than the other teams. The only outlier I see is the Colts. I think the Colts could come through the wild card. I actually don't think the Chargers can because the Chargers defense isn't very good. The Colts have offense and defense, which separates them a little bit as a wild card. They probably wouldn't have been a wild card uh, had they not lost 2 games to the Titans. I mean, they put themselves so far behind the 8 ball there that they just couldn't get overcome it. And the Colts lost some heartbreakers. I mean, the one to Baltimore, just some heartbreakers. The Colts are a really good football team. Really good. I know they lost last week, but they're a really good football team. And but anyway, so oddly enough, so the Titans are getting Derrick Henry back for the playoff run, which is absolutely amazing. And the Arizona Cardinals will be getting DeAndre Hopkins back as well. So those two teams are going to be sneaky good, right? I mean, the Titans are the number 1 seed, so they should be good, but they're going to be sneaky. You get Derrick Henry back fresh, healthy, off about 5 games of rest, 6 games of rest, whatever it's been. They didn't lose. They kept winning. And now, boom, here they are. So who's the fakers in here, right? A lot of people are going to say the Cowboys, right? Because they haven't played very well lately. Well, they still won 11 games. No, that's funny. Uh, the Cowboys still won 11 games. They're pretty good. They beat some really good teams. They played the Bucks week 1 to 2 points. They're a pretty good football team. They just for something's going on in their offense right now. Like I think they're having trouble figuring out who they are. I think they want to be a running team and a pass. I just think they have a hard time figuring out who they are. Now I think they lost Gallup again, and that's gonna when Gallup was out, they were actually really good. Without him on the field, they actually were really, really good. The Cowboys had the best rated offense in the NFL, which is really kind of amazing. But so some of the other pretenders are the Chiefs a pretender because their defense it can definitely let them down. It let them down last week. The defense absolutely let them down last week. The offense put them in plenty of position to win, and they allowed the Bengals to just airmail them all day long down the field. Huge plays. Jamar Chase just going crazy. Joe Burrow closing his eyes and heaving it down there. Jamar Chase making plays. I mean, I'm just joking there. I actually really like those guys. But so fun fact here. The Bengals coach actually came out one time and said that he likes to go play craps in Vegas all night. He said that's one of the things he likes to do. He goes and plays craps all night long. I mean, so that's pretty cool. So it kind of makes me a Bengals fan in a way because he's a big craps player. So, big craps player. I like that, man. I like that about the Bengals coach. I like the Bengals anyway because the Bengals have really never won anything, and here they are looking good. I mean, they're a solid football team. I mean, I like the Bengals. I hope they do something. I wouldn't mind seeing them win it all. Again, so who else is the pretenders? All these teams up here have had stretches, right? Hello, Alex. All these teams up here have had stretches of kind of mediocrity, except for the Packers, right? The Packers have been the ones that have kind of been good all year long. Their losses, they had the first game of the year to New Orleans where they just laid that egg and got crushed. They lost that game to Kansas City with no Aaron Rodgers, and they lost Minnesota. Minnesota beat them. Other than that, they haven't lost. Now, there's been some games they should have lost. The Cincinnati game, the one that missed all the field goals. Cincinnati probably should have beat them in that game. The Washington game, Packers had to stop Washington on the 1 twice in that game. Washington can get in from the 1. So there's been some games that the Packers definitely could have dropped, and they didn't. The Arizona game, they get an interception in the end zone at the end of the game. there's some things now. Don't get me wrong. The Arizona game was an amazing game from the Packers. They didn't have their star wide receivers, so I mean that was really an amazing game by them. But still, so they all kind of have their pretender moments, right? None of these teams have just been completely dominant, which is just another testament to the parity of the league this year, just how ridiculously even things have been. And that's one of the things that kind of is hard to figure out this year, right? It's hard to figure out who is going to get this done, right? Who's going to be the one that comes out on top? So going through Tennessee, Tennessee doesn't have a big home field advantage. Not a huge deal. Going through Lambeau is a big deal. But Aaron Rodgers, in his last four NFC title games, has lost all four of them. All right. So all these ones that he's had at home, he's lost them all. And so do I think that the teams in, I think that the Rams, the Bucks, the Cowboys, and the Cardinals can all beat, every one of them can beat the Packers. And I honestly don't think, I actually don't think the Packers are the best team in the NFC. I think that the Packers get to play Detroit twice, get to play Chicago twice. They got Washington on their schedule this year. You know what I mean? They had some breaks. You know, they had definitely had some breaks. They got, you know, now they lost a Kansas City game that probably would have won also. So, I mean, I just feel like that the Packers, I think the Packers are the number one pretender on this board. And I know they have the best record, but if those other teams got to play Chicago twice and Detroit twice, they would all have four more wins too. You know, the Rams had to play Arizona twice. They had to play the Bucks. They had to play the Colts. I mean, the Rams had to play a bunch. San Francisco twice. You know, Seattle twice. They've had to play a whole just ridiculous schedule that they always have to play. You know, the Bengals, they had to play all of them AFC teams, AFC North teams twice. They're all pretty solid football teams. The Bills schedule is pretty tough. They played Tennessee, they played Kansas City, played New England twice. You know, Kansas City's schedule was ridiculous. They had to play so many tough games. The Titans was pretty tough. Pretty tough. You got the Colts twice, you got the Bills, you got the Chiefs in there. But the Packers, it just wasn't. The Packers schedule just wasn't that tough. And I just, in my opinion, don't get me wrong, the Packers have a Rams win. They did beat the Rams this year. But I just think the Packers, I actually think the Packers are the least talented team up there. Outside of, if Aaron Rodgers isn't out there, or you can take Devontae Adams away, the other players on the Packers are just okay. Even their running backs, they're good as a tandem, but individually they're stoppable. And so I feel like if you can just take Devontae Adams out of a game, you know, you can figure out a way to bracket him or whatever. I think the Packers lose. And I think when they play the Rams again, they will lose because I think Jalen Ramsey will follow him around the field. But the Rams have a big problem, and it's the Matthew Stafford problem, right? So Matthew Stafford is only one of two guys. Either he's all the way great or he's kind of all the way bad. He doesn't really have the middle games. So it's all great or all bad with him. So he has to have all good games to get the Super Bowl. And they were my early Super Bowl pick. They were at the beginning of the year. I had the Chiefs and the Rams in the Super Bowl in that first video we made. And I still think that's the case. I still think the Chiefs will come out of the AFC and the Rams will come out of the NFC. And I think we'll see them in the Super Bowl. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, but I'm not deviating from that. I do think that the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC, even though they've lost to these other teams. So basically, the top four teams over there, the Chiefs have lost to every one of them. They got crushed by the Titans. They got that game against the Bengals they just lost, and they got beat up by the Bills too. But Andy Reid doesn't really lose to teams twice in one season. He just doesn't. And I actually think the Chiefs are going to walk those guys. I think you're going to see a playoff team out of the Chiefs that is just better. That's just better than those other teams. Now, could the Titans show up with Derrick Henry and Derrick Henry have one of his 200-yard games? Yeah, he could, sure. Could the Bills beat the Chiefs again? I don't think so. Not without Tre'Davious White. Could the Bengals? Sure, because the Bengals can just beat anyone. I think New England's kind of a pretender. New England won most of their games against teams that were either named the Jets or they they had that stretch where they won all those big games, right? They beat the Chargers, they beat the Browns, they beat the Tennessee, but every one of those games, the star players were out, except for the Chargers. The best win was the Chargers win. They went down and beat the Chargers in LA. That was a great win. But against the Browns didn't have their running backs. They didn't have some of the receivers. Against Tennessee didn't have their running backs or the receivers. Against in the Bills game, the first Bills game that they lost, or that the New England won, New England won because the Bills just decided not to play football. If they would have let Josh Allen throw the ball all day, no matter the win or not, it would have been close. And they won off one huge run. One big run won that game for them. New England got beat up and down the field in that game, but they break one run and get a win. I mean, you saw in the second game, the Bills dominated them. So I think New England's a good, solid football team, and they're on their way back to being prominent, but they're just not there yet. And I think all those teams up there will have no problem beating them. Except for, this is kind of crazy, but except for maybe if they play the Bengals. And the reason is because Bill Belichick's really good at messing with young quarterbacks, right? He's really good at causing problems for young quarterbacks. So if they play the Bengals, the Bengals could lose to them. The Chiefs won't lose to them. Titans won't, and the Bills won't lose to them. In my opinion, they just won't. New England's a good football team. There's no doubt about it. But they have some glaring deficiencies, and it has to do with the young quarterback and the lack of receiving core. Their receiving core is not stellar. It looks better because the Patriots are really good at putting their players in good positions, but it's just not good. It's just overall, it's not good. So again, do I think that the number one seeds will both fall? I do. I think the Titans and the Packers. Now, the Titans could lose their number one spot. If they lose this week and the Chiefs win, the Chiefs will jump up there. And the FC doesn't want that. They all don't want to go through through Kansas City. They don't want to do that. Arrowhead Stadium, they don't want that. But the outlier here with the Colts, and what's crazy is the Colts just lost to the Raiders, right? Now, I don't think that's a bad loss. The Raiders, they're an okay football team. They had all the problems in the world this year, and they still ended up winning 9 games. They got one more. They could win 10 games this year with all those problems. Think about that. That's how good they really are. Overall, after everything that went wrong for them this year, they still had a chance to win 10 games. That's pretty crazy. That's really good. You look at teams that didn't have any problems and aren't going to get nowhere near 10 games. So, it's just a really good, it's pretty good for them to just be where they're at. As for I made some future bets, right? I made some future bets early in the year before. One of my futures was the Pittsburgh Steelers to win over 8.5 games. And so as long as they win this week against Baltimore, that'll hit. The other one was the Rams to win their division. And so far, so good. If they win this week, they do that. So then we'll hit, hopefully. One of some of my other futures, I have Tom Brady win the MVP. Actually, don't think he will. I think they're going to give it to Aaron Rodgers because he's only thrown 4 interceptions all year. So I actually think it's going to go to him again. And it probably should go to Jonathan Taylor. He should probably win the MVP. But it'll go to Aaron Rodgers most likely. Mac Jones will win Rookie of the Year, I imagine. And I had bet him right before week 1 when I found out he was the starter, it made sense to bet him. That's actually a pretty good win. I think I got like 7.5 to 1 on it or something like that. And my wife bets San Francisco to win the Super Bowl. So if they get in the playoffs, I guess they'll have a chance. But so that's all them futures that I had. But anyway, so they're all gonna, the ones are gonna do pretty good. Um, but yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Future bets are so hard because there's so much on future bets. You're relying on players staying healthy. COVID is such a huge issue now. COVID wrecked multiple games this week. For the last 3 weeks, it's just wrecked games, wrecked picks. You bet a game early on because you get a good number, and then COVID comes, and now your number's terrible. It's just COVID's just ridiculously ruins the NFL. So, I mean, it's just tough. But, again, there's always the don't bet against Brady rule too. So you got the Bucks in the playoffs, and Tom Brady tends to win a lot of playoff games. He tends to win Super Bowls. So you just never know with him. I mean, he's just so good at winning. I mean, he's really good at winning, and people follow him when it's the hardest, they get behind him because he wins. I mean, he's 7 out of 10 in Super Bowls. You got to think he's played 20 something years, right? So he's essentially went to the Super Bowl every other year. I mean, it's insane, right? In his career, he's essentially, it's almost every other year that he's went. Obviously they didn't come that way. They game in streaks or whatever, but still, I mean, that's just a ridiculous stat that he's almost went 50% of the time he's played. So, I mean, there's guys, amazing quarterbacks that never made it Super Bowl, never made it to 1, and he's been to 10. I mean, it's just insane. So there was a big stat, right? Aaron Rodgers just made it to like 400 and something touchdowns or something, right? Well, Brady has like 600. That's how crazy. Let's just think about that. Aaron Rodgers is amazing, and Brady has 200 more touchdowns than him. I mean, just craziness. The craziness that surrounds Brady is just his statistic. He's a statistical anomaly in the NFL. It's just so far outside of the boundaries of even the greatest of all time players. A lot of them aren't close to him statistically. So, and I'm not a big Brady guy. I'm just, these are just the stats he has are just insane, so the touchdowns, the completions, the yardage, all that stuff, the lack of interceptions. The interceptions are way, way low. And so let's talk about this. Okay, so here's an all-time great quarterback, right? Like John Elway. John Elway threw 300 touchdowns in his career. Tom Brady has thrown 600 and something. That's crazy. Oh no, Tom Brady's thrown 700. Sorry, my bad. 700. 700 touchdowns. So, to put it in perspective, Peyton Manning was pretty good, right? Peyton Manning threw 579 touchdowns. That's it. Tom Brady's thrown 700. Oh, and it's over 700 now. But that's just what that says. 700 plus. Over 700 touchdowns. It's just ridiculousness. Absolute insanity. And I mean, just the overall craziness that is Tom Brady. Just if you think about just how many teams have just not been able to do anything with him. So he's dominated the Jets. The Dolphins were actually pretty good against him overall, but dominated the Colts, dominated the Bills, dominated teams like the Chargers, and I mean the Broncos did pretty well against him overall. There was a few teams that did okay against him, but like a lot of the great teams of his eras, like them Colts teams, he dominated those Colts teams. Now they won some regular season games, but in the playoffs, he beat them almost every time. Or maybe he did beat them every time. I'm not sure. Now, the other Manning brother, he couldn't beat him though. But still, so one of the things I want to talk about is I'm going to be putting out another playoff package. You'll have to go to my website to get it, which is wagermethis.com. It's going to be I'm gonna handicap the whole playoffs as they come. I'm gonna give picks and props on every game. And for the people who've already bought my package and gonna do it, you cannot buy this on YouTube. You have to go to my website. I'm not gonna do the YouTube thing no more. It was too much trouble to keep up with it through the website. You have to put an email address in. It's all through Square. It's all legit. So it's 100%. And I'm going to be putting that package on there for sale. This has been a really tough year, and I've still done pretty well. So the parity has just been super tough, but I've still done really well. The computer model, it's not as good as it's been in other years because of the parity, but it's still hovering around 57, 58%. So the computer model's done real solid job. But anyway, so that's just some more of the stuff that I'm going to have going on, and I'm going to put it on my channel a few times. But if you're interested, you'll be able to go there. Now I have to know, it won't be till after this weekend when I can put it up, because I'll have to know who's playing in those games. So before that. And then what happens is when you buy it, you get an email from me with my computer model breakdown, my personal breakdowns, and it'll tell you the prop bets that I like. It'll be a full, like, downloadable thing that you'll get through an email. The other guys have been getting it all year long, but there's going to be more involved in the playoffs because it's less games to do and less teams to worry about, so, and it gets smaller and smaller as it goes. So I'll be able to, dive into the games further and find better props. And when you have 14, 15, 16 games going on every week, it's hard to catch all the props. So what I usually do is I look for specific scenarios I like. Rookie quarterbacks going against good defenses, I like to bet interception props, stuff like that. So I look for scenarios throughout the season. In the playoffs, I do deeper dive, and I look at teams and what guys been doing the last 5 games. Have they been good? Have they been bad? All those kind of things. I dive way deeper into it. So that'll be another thing I do. And like I said, it'll be on my website. It's not going to be expensive. I know I don't make stuff expensive, but I do sell it. So since I'm not giving it away for free, since I already sold it to the other guys that bought the year package, I definitely won't give it away for free, because that would be wrong to them for sure. So, but you can check it out. It's really good. It'll be good, solid stuff. I obviously can't guarantee a percentage, but guys, I average around 60%, and that's pretty good for sports betting. If you know anything about sports betting, it's pretty good. So it'll be on there. It'll have to be after this week, when I know where the seeding is and I know who's playing who, and then I'll keep you up to date if players get COVID or go out. I'll send emails out, and that's how you get it. But yeah, it'll be up there to purchase, so you guys check it out. It'll be a good way to make some money right here at the end of the year. I definitely plan on making money myself doing it, so it'll be pretty good. It's been a good year so far. The first 4 weeks of the year were really good. Well, the first 3 weeks of the year were really good. And then there was like a stretch of 3 weeks in the middle of the year that were just really good, and the rest of it has been kind of mediocre. But those big weeks, they just carried the whole year really well. So again, some of the guys, you guys, I need to do maybe some tutorial stuff on sports betting, the actual process of it, because I think guys don't fully understand how to make money at it in the unit system and different things. So I need to do that, and I plan on doing that before I open up the baseball season, because I'm actually going to handicap baseball this year too. I've been working on the model on that, and the model's worked pretty good. I've put the years before in the model, on this model I've made, and it's done pretty well. So it's done well enough that I feel like I'm going to share it with people, and I plan on betting it myself. It's an over and under model. I basically just bet the baseball over and unders. That way you're not worrying so much about in and out. You're more worried about numbers and percentages. So that helps. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Baseball season, it has a little break in there. I'll probably put some stuff out on March Madness because I love March Madness. It'll all be free because I'm not a basketball handicapper. I don't think I am. But I'll definitely put some stuff out if you want to, follow or fade me, whatever. But I love March Madness. It's probably my favorite sports tournament. So we'll be checking that out too. That's gonna be a lot of fun. And maybe we'll have like a March Madness giveaway. I think it's a good idea, right? Because my two favorite teams will be in there. Obviously I like Arkansas, and I'm a Gonzaga guy. I grew up pretty close to Gonzaga, so maybe I'll buy a Gonzaga and an Arkansas jersey and give them away or something. Sounds like a pretty good idea. Because I need to start giving some away to the guys that are members. Now, guys, my giveaways are only going to be for my members. So not the football memberships, but the base membership. When I go to do giveaways, I'm going to look up all those people, and I'm going to do the little spinny wheel thing I did before, and I'm going to give stuff away because I feel like I need to reward those guys and for being, very supportive of me. So that's another thing I'm going to be doing. I just got, like I said, just got back to my house and I'm remodeling it. And I have a lot of stuff going on. Internet was delayed for a while just because they couldn't get it in and different things. So finally got all this going, and I'm going to be getting more stuff together, getting a room together for all this, and it's going to get better. So I'm going to get more often, more craps content out. There's going to be baseball content, obviously some March Madness and the NFL playoffs. Guys, I'm not a college football handicapper. Obviously, my two picks for the playoffs in college football, they both lost because I'm just not a college football guy. I like watching it, but betting on it's just not good at it. So I don't claim to be good at it. And but anyways, so I'm going with Georgia, in just because I don't want Alabama to win again. Not because I really have anything against them. Georgia hasn't won since like 1908. Yes, Derrick Henry is going to be back for the playoffs. They actually knew that when he got hurt. They actually knew it not too long after he got hurt. At first, they were acting like he wasn't going to be back, and then they pretty soon after, about a week later, they said if they made the playoffs, he would be ready. So yeah, it's going to be rough having a fresh Derrick Henry out there pounding through people. He's a monster. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, guys, again, if you want to contact me, it's really easy to contact me. Just go to wagerminus.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom. You're going to find some information down there. Makes it pretty easy to contact me directly. But don't call, text, and then tell me. And then if you want to call, we can chit chat or whatever. But I just don't like putting it all the way out there. Wagermethis.com. You can go check out my website. There's a lot of other good stuff on there. There's craps content on there. There's stuff about Blackhawk if you're going to Blackhawk to play craps tables. I got my NFL stuff. There's just a lot of good stuff on there. A lot of crap stuff. So you guys can check it out. And that's where you're going to be able to purchase the playoff stuff. If you do want to purchase a playoff package for the NFL, you're going to be able to purchase it there. It's pretty easy. Like I said, it's through Square, so it's safe. I'm not trying to steal anybody's stuff. I don't even deal with anything with it. It's just you do it all through Square, and then GoDaddy, and they do it all. I don't even touch none of it. I just get a receipt that has your email address and stuff on it, so I know where to send the stuff. But yeah, so it's a good deal. I mean, it's going to be winners, guys. I will venture to say now, like I said, I can't guarantee anything because COVID could ruin things. But I'll go between 60 and 70% in the playoffs. And that's with every picks. That's the props, everything. It'll be that high. So it's just, I've done it for a lot of years now, and I'm pretty good at it. I mean, I feel like I'm good enough at it that I should sell it. So it's pretty good. I did last year. I gave it all away for free. And I told everyone last year that I was not going to give it away for free. This year, you can still download my computer model straight off my website for free. You can go get it and download it and put all the numbers in yourself and figure it all out yourself. And I'll help you all you want with using it. But if you want me to do all the work for you, that's, it's not a lot, a little cheap cost. So, but anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. Like I said, when the playoffs get set, I'm going to put that out there. I'll have some more videos. I'm going to have some free pick videos as well, guys, for the playoffs. There is going to be some free pick videos, but if you want like everything I have, you're going to have to buy it on the website. But anyways, guys, just keep in mind that a lot of these good players are coming back. Your DeAndre Hopkinses, your Derrick Henrys, these guys are coming back. And remember, guys, the playoff football is different than regular season football. Playoff football, you got the best coaches and the best quarterbacks win. I mean, it's almost every time. Best coaches and the best quarterbacks win. And it's just, so don't get caught up in the Cinderella stories. You know, you're like, let's say the Raiders get in there, because the Raiders aren't going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, don't go away from the norm. Just think about that. There's a reason these guys are the best. All right. There's a reason Derek Carr is not the best. So again, you guys have a great night. This is Jacob from Wager Me This, and I can't wait to hang out with you all some more at the craps table. Everyone that I've been hanging out with lately, thanks for playing with me. I'm going to be getting out some more, hopefully pretty soon, and get some more meet and greet type stuff, and just hang out, play some dice, and see what happens. So you guys have a good time.